never living a lie. So we keep our meditation in the eye. We weather the storm and put up a fight, 'cause we can do anything. Should you feel like giving up, let the strength of your ancestors fill your cup. The power of Jah preserves I and guides in all that good. So evil that may be harm, and go back where they came from. No demonic words perform shall prosper, yeah. Until the yoga and the science man come, 'cause them can't squeeze the lion bar. No demonic words perform shall prosper. The wages and blessing never living a lie. So we keep our meditation in the eye. We weather the storm and put up a fight, 'cause we can do anything. Should you feel like giving up, let the strength of your ancestors fill your cup. The power of Jah preserves I and guides in all that good. So evil that may be harm, and go back where they came from. No demonic words perform shall prosper, yeah. Until the yoga and the science man come, 'cause them can't squeeze the lion bar. No demonic words perform shall prosper. The wages and blessing never living a lie. So we keep our meditation in the eye. We weather the storm and put up a fight, 'cause we can do anything. Should you feel like giving up, let the strength of your ancestors fill your cup. The power of Jah preserves I and guides in all that good. So evil that may be harm, and go back where they came from. No demonic words perform shall prosper, yeah. Until the yoga and the science man come, 'cause them can't squeeze the lion bar. No demonic words perform shall prosper.
Hello, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to all our silent supporters. Happy Tuesday to those in television land. Happy Tuesday to everyone in the chat. Hope everyone is having a wonderful and productive week so far. Tonight's topic, Nigel, Clarke resigns and economy in crisis, with your host, Baron and Anne-Marie. And remember, guys, when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can. And if you're new to the channel, please show us some support by subscribing. Before I hand over to Baron and welcome those in the chat, let me just remind us about the protest coming up on Friday. Yes, so it's this Friday between 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Jamaican Consulate at the corner of 41st Street and 2nd Avenue in Manhattan, where voices will be raised in protest against corruption, crime, poverty, failed healthcare, poor education, etc. in Jamaica. And it is in association with the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation. And guys, please remember to donate to the foundation. And it's the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation.net. All right, so please remember to go over and support the foundation. It's okay. No, I don't have the video. It's just the thing I have. So let me just welcome those persons in the chat. Youngs, Dunmel, Beverly, Monica Hall, Doris McCoy, Larry Beckford, welcome, and thank you for the wonderful work that you do each night in reminding person to thumbs up the live, like up the live, really appreciate you. Truck Life, Louis Longshaw, Rennie Swaby, Reggae Girl. Okay, Reggae Girl is also reminding about the protest in Manhattan. Bandetta, King Lord, Universal, SG, Noreen McLean, Lennox Reed, Noreen Dennison, Magetta Hamilton, Florence Brown, Patel Cruikshank, Charmaine Livermore, Yvonne Riley, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. John Scott, blessings to you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. G Angel, saying blessings, family. Bless up yourself, G Angel. Markle Legister, welcome, welcome. Without any delay, let me hand over to Baron. And guys, remember the back to school treat that is being sponsored by, let me see if I can find the dates that haven't gone yet. That one's gone, sorry. That has been sponsored by Alan Bernard, MP candidate in Montego Bay. And there's one today, well, 10 to 3, it's already finished. I think that was the last one. So maybe they're all done now. All right, so I'm gonna hand over to Bar.
Yes, YP, I want to say big thanks for that precursor as usual. I want my voice to be very clear tonight in terms of what we are going to address. Now, obviously, someone called me and said, Byron, the finance minister is on Wayne Lonesome program doing an interview. And I happening while driving away from work, right? Tune in and listen to some of what he said. I didn't catch all, but the few. I have realized that Nigel Clarke blatantly lied to Wayne and lied to Rattigan. In particular, a question that Rattigan asked him. Well, I am going to reveal some evidence. This goes to show you, and let me say this, where I am going tonight. We are going to get into the root of the matter and expose the Jamaica Labour Party government. Now, let me say this, if Nigel Clarke is still listening on, that we have seen that the International Monetary Fund, of course, have now served you a seat, as it relates to one of the 4 deputies, as a result of what you have handed them, handed them Jamaica resources, handed our resources to crony capital, crony capitalism. And we are going to show clear evidence, of the atrocity that you have done in our economic space. And while the International Monetary Fund can highlight you as a beacon under the political strategy facing that we are in an election eve, and so because they want to maintain capitalism, the IMF, is supporting the Jamaica Labour Party in terms of bigging you up. Well, guess what, people? This is not the first time the IMF and the CIA, work with the Jamaica Labour Party to destroy democratic socialism. So if Nigel Clarke, if you're listening, tune in. This is not the first time the IMF, and we're going to show evidence, not the first time the IMF work with the Jamaica Labour Party to destroy democratic socialism. They realize that the Jamaica Labour Party imploding in the poll, So pulling this last one from out of the cap, Edward Seaga 2.0, using the IMF, to make Nigel Clarke look good, and in extension, make Andrew Holness look good, and in extension, the Jamaica Labour Party looking good. To say what? All of what they have been accused of, it is only mouth talk. Let me tell you something, Nigel Clarke. Let me give you a rundown. We have no clarity, SSL, we have no clarity provided in that. The budget shortfall No clarity provided in that. COVID-19 relief fund, Nigel Clarke. No clarity, right, provided in that. The FinSAC report, no clarity provided in that. Illicit enrichment of 8 parliamentarians, no clarity provided with that. Education, healthcare, and security definitely reach a crisis proportion. Now let me begin with you now on that interview and expose your first lie, what you have told them. Now, Rattigan asks you a question as it relates to the investigation in SSL, right? And your brief response to distract Rattigan is to say, you know, the FID is investigating, and you know, we should allow them to complete their investigation. This is where I catch you. This is where I catch you. I'm going to bring up a document and show you how deceitful you are. And when you told Rattigan to allow the FID, right, to complete investigation, this is where Mystic Sensation catch you. Now let me say this to you, Nigel Clarke. You have spoken into Parliament that the investigation is completed and the file sent to the DPP office. So then, oh no, you came on a program and saying to Rattigan to allow FID to complete its investigation, as if to say that an ongoing investigation is going on. Let me burst the first bubble and put up the evidence for people to see your lie. And after I crush that lie, we're going to get into the deck of things. So without any delay, wife, we put up that document and let us...
It was a throwback interview done by Wayne and Mr. Rattigan from last year.
Okay.
So apparently it's a previous one when the debunk was taking place.
Okay, so that interview is not current?
No, apparently that's what Monica is saying.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was a new one. But anyway, let us get into this to show just quickly then that the investigation is completed and what is happening. So that interview,
I didn't know that Monica
okay.
Monica just I didn't know that.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Because I am so anxious to deal with him, you know. So anxious to discipline him, you know. Now, let us get into to show people that the SSL investigation has been completed. And so then when we say SSL, Nigel Clarke is jumping ship and don't resolve the SSL situation. Nigel Clarke knew very well that something is coming down in the pipe. People, let me say this to you. Nigel Clarke knows very well that something is coming down the pipe. And guess what? Jumping ship is not going to help him. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, is not going to help the Jamaica Labour Party to shape a narrative. We are going to show the people where the IMF, you understand, involved in our politics, and the CIA, right, under Edward Philip George Seaga. So let us get into that document just to show them, all right? I'm bringing that document on it. So people just bear in mind with me. That's, oh,
Which one?
Yeah, the consolidated on SSL. Yes. So let us prove to the people what Nigel Clarke, right, is leaving behind. Right? What Nigel Clarke is leaving behind. So we start at 4.0 SSL investigation. As I mentioned in my opening budget presentation, this is Nigel Clarke speaking, in March 2023 and again in March 2024, with respect to investigation into SSL. The policy position of the government is that we will make available whatever resources are required to ensure a thorough and fair, complete and independent investigation. We will also leave no stone unturned. Well, Nigel Clarke, let the public know now that you are jumping away, you are jumping ship, and you're leaving all the stones unturned. Bulletin point, follow the evidence. We'll be following the evidence wherever it may lead. Make the world know, Nigel Clarke, that you are no more following the evidence where the evidence may lead because you're jumping ship. And you'll be seeking international assistance. Yes, you have sought international assistance, which is CRAWL, and CRAWL had completed their investigation, gave it to you, and you have done nothing. Let us show the world this, that when IMF coming out, right, and talking about you, right, as it relates to studied in macroeconomic development, well, the International Monetary Fund is awarding you because you sell out Jamaica resources to them. You sold us out. Now, let us read. This is the policy that has been implemented as previously updated. CRAWL Associate UK Limited, a renowned international investigations firm, was engaged to undertake an independent forensic audit to understand the facts relating to the fraud perpetrated at Stacks and Security Limited over the period 2010 to 2023. The company was selected because it did not have any connection in Jamaica and because its vast experience given the complexity of the matter, the volume of transactions, the number of accounts held by clients, and the number of bank accounts held by SSL network of companies. The CRAWL team, working with the support of the government agency, including the FID and FSC, utilized technology, data analytics, and forensic expertise to produce a comprehensive and independent report of its finding in November 2023. The CRAWL report has confirmed that the suspected fraudulent activity and mismanagement at SSL and its related parties were much broader than initially understood. With the benefit of this report, their own investigations, and through collaboration with other law enforcement agencies, the FID has publicly reported that a file was submitted to the office. People, let us look. Here it is. And this is what Nigel Clarke, right, left behind. Let us read it over again. With the benefit of this report, their own investigation, and through collaboration with other law enforcement agencies, the FID has publicly reported that a file was now submitted to the Office of the Director of the Public Prosecution for the consideration of criminal charges against individual linked to SSL network of companies, right, and are the companies pursuant to the Proceed of Crime Act, Larceny Act, and Financial Sector legislation. Take that away. Take that away. So here we have proven, right, to the entire world what Nigel Clarke has left behind. SSL, right, and Nigel Clarke input in just damaging the economy. Now we are going to get to
Monica is saying that.
Monica Byron. He did one with Nationwide today and told them he didn't apply for the job. He got a call a couple of weeks ago from the IMF, right? Read the employment. You guys need to watch it. Okay.
And Rodolph is saying that.
Yes, and Rodolph is saying, good night, Mr. and Mrs. Sensation. Have it never happened before where a government minister leave his ministry and constituents to go take up a private position in a foreign country? Well, honestly, I haven't heard of that happen before. But this again, as it relates to
love for country.
This again, when we talk about total love, and also now question, right, how they are pressuring Mark Golden as it relates to dual citizenship, and saying that, right, they want someone who is committed This go against what the Jamaica Labour Party is saying.
Yeah.
Now you have Nigel Clarke. So Nigel Clarke is not committed. We want to know. Nigel Clarke is not committed. They are the one is talking and exposing Mark Golding to say that, to have an understanding of Mark Golding commitment, to say that Mark Golding cannot hold dual citizenship. You understand? Because he is saying that he is not committed to Jamaica. Hold on now. Hold on.
And the first
Hold on.
shiny object dangling.
So then, exactly. So the first shiny object dangled in front of the finance minister, whether, right, the salary is bigger. Him run gone. Him run gone. So where is Nigel Clarke commitment after gotten 200 and 300% raise? But guess what? Did he jump ship to take on bigger money? So if that is so, let us ask the Jamaica Labour Party, you understand, speaking about Mark Golding commitment, right? Is that commitment to Jamaica? Is that commitment to Jamaica? But again, people, he must know why he is running. So all what they are putting up, whether Nigel Clarke want to say, okay, all right, it is the IMF who contacted him, I don't care. Whether whether the IMF want to contact Nigel or Nigel want to contact the IMF, right? I mean, 6 or 1, half dozen the other, right? So we are talking about commitment and where Jamaica Labour Party rubbing dual citizenship in people's face to say that they are not committed, particular Andrew Honest. This goes to show you now, Andrew Honest, that you know who endorsing Nigel Clarke leaving. Let me ask you, Andrew Honest, is that commitment? Where you are beating Mark Golding that he needs to be committed, right? Is that commitment? No, but hold on. We are coming to you. People, let me say this. I want people to be open their lenses, right? Daniel Taylor, unfortunately, the Honorable Mr. Gagas doesn't see Nigel Clarke as such character, because according to Gagas, Nigel Clarke saved Jamaica from a financial downfall to a stronger and stable economy. Well, that's why I'm going to hit him tonight and show Nigel and show Gagas how stable the economy is. As a matter of fact, when you hear the Jamaica Labour Party talking about how they fixed the economy and they're making reference to 10, 50 years ago that the economy was this and the economy was that. No, people, let me tell you something. We know that for a country to move forward, right, its education is priority. It's priority to make any nation move forward. Because from our educational background, right, on that basis where it develops a lot of technocrats who have the skills and requirement, right, to make solid decision making, right, and where we can invest from their education as a result of their knowledge. Now, since Gagas jump out and since the IMF want to paint Nigel Clarke, right, to be this beacon of light, right, because Nigel Clarke is selling out the resources, right, to crony capitalism, you understand, as it relates to IMF. So we're going to show them now. Let's look, people, let us look at our education system, making comparison to People's National Party as it relates to 2012 to 2016, as it relates to our CSEC, right? What was the CSEC passes like in 2012 comparison to now? And you are going to see that the people under the People's National Party, right, education was a vehicle that was on a focused mission, and that Portia Simpson was pushing education, and we have better education passes rate as it relates to CSEC passes rate in comparison to now. And let me say this, people, I'm going to show you evidence, because it seems like them know something are coming on, you know. Them know something are coming on. You know what them do, people? The 19%, the only 19% CSEC passing rate under the Jamaica Labour Party. Just imagine. 19%. You know what I do, people? I'm going to show you the evidence. They take down the news feed because they don't want us to show it. They take it down to show you that Jamaica Labour Party is a callous failure. I am going to search and show you where it says page cannot be found. It is to show you how devious this government is telling peer lies, peer PR, right? The economy is not in a good place. So then, Nigel Clarke, right? Whatever reasons why you're jumping ship, we soon find out. So let us show the people them the proof in comparison with the people them read it themselves and show you how well PNP are done as it relates to education in comparison to Jamaica Labour Party governance. Right? Now, let us get that document and show them how well PNP had done. Bring up that document. Jamaica Observer, Education Ministry to address decline in CSEC maths passes. Let us show what Mama Portia done with education under Mama Portia in comparison to his. Come on, people. So when IMF come put you up, right? It's here.
Yeah.
So people, I could just boast you and show them. You understand how CSEC passes under the People's National Party, right? Let us, okay. Kingston, Jamaica, the Ministry of Education, and remember, people, here it is, August 17, 2016. Because if we can just get right to the CSEC passes, as opposed to reading the entire document. Right?
Go back.
Okay. You know what? Let me just read the entire document for better understanding. Come on, to follow me, and show what PNP had done with education. Now let us read. Kingston, Jamaica. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information will be implementing a number of initiatives to address the decline in mathematics passes in this year's Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, right? Examination. The pass rate for mathematics was 47.7%, which is a 14.3 percentage point decrease compared to 2015. So remember now, people, that Portia Simpson time was 2012 to 2015. And Andrew Owens take it over 2016. And here it is saying the pass rate for mathematics was 47.7%, which is a 14.3% point decrease compared to 2015. Mama Portia time. Now let us go on. Speaking at a press conference at the Ministry Euro Circle offices in Kingston today, Portfolio Minister Senator Rural Reid, the thief, the criminal who crippled the education, informed that an additional 50 mathematics coaches have been identified to provide support to schools. In particular, the mathematics coaches will be providing support to 100 underperforming secondary schools. He said, in addition, close to 230 student teachers have been awarded scholarship to pursue courses in mathematics, science, and technical vocational education, with 138 to pursue programs in secondary mathematics education. The education minister further informed that an audit is being undertaken to identify heads of department in the secondary system who have not yet been trained in the leadership of mathematics program, which is joint venture with the National College of Educational Leadership. New and untrained HUDs will be engaged in 3 days of training from October 12 to 14 to 2016, Reid said. Let us go on. These measures, coupled with improved monitoring of schools, more capacity buildings, initiative for teachers, and renewed focus on improving school leadership, should go a far way in effective improvements in mathematics and other subject areas that recorded decline. Look here now, people. The fall off in mathematics comes after three consecutive years of improvement. So you hear it to the people. This is the rural read who damaging education system is saying to Jamaica that the fall off in mathematics come after 3 consecutive years of Portia Simpson years. People, see there, I am not lying on the Jamaica Labour Party. Let us read this over to Vegas so that Vegas can hear. So, Mr. Vegas, here we will read the Minister of Education at the time, 2016, is admitting Vegas, come look Vegas. The fall off in mathematics comes after 3 consecutive years of improvement in the performance of students in the subject area. Passes moved from 37.2% in 2012. This is more Portia Simpson time. Theta Vegas. Passes moved from 37.2% in 2012 to 62% in 2015. Take away that, honey. Take away that. Yeah? IMF, you run out, come talk about Nigel Clarke is good. Yeah, man, let me deal with you. Let me deal with you now. You understand? Someone want to see the evidence. See the evidence and know saying a Portia Simpson time. Portia Simpson from 37.8%, hallelujah, to 62.8%. Now I'm in a GLP time after rural read thief up, do all that sort of thing, Andrew Holness. You understand? Take 200% raise, damage the education system. Now, their CSEC rate pass as it relates to 5 subjects, right? 19%. 19%. So, Mr. IMF, Mr. IMF, who want to pick up, right? Labour Party government that they are performing. Who want Jamaica Labour Party is a careless failure and a sellout to Jamaica, right? Not, let us try to find the document, people. Them know something come on tonight, so them hide it. Let me show them so them hide it. Go to the document. Let me show the whole world so them hide the document. You understand? You can't find the document. The document was sent to me. You understand? And them hide the document because they know some I search to make the comparison. Right? They know some I search. So show the people them, show the public what Jamaica Labour Party and do the suppress information and hiding the document. Right? Now, just imagine. Where truth is concerned, this government is doing everything to suppress the document. Right? So, this is a serious situation, and I want to show the evidence where people that the Jamaica Labour Party, you understand, is suppressing the evidence because guess what? I don't see mainstream media is carrying it. Right? Let me put it up and the people them see it. See, people, see the evidence, page not found. Page not found. None of the mainstream media is carrying the fact that under the Andrew Holness-led government is the CSEC pass rate is 19%. 19% at 81% failure rate. 81% failure rate. And here is IMF trying to pretty up Nigel Clarke, to pretty up Jamaica Labour Party. Let me tell you something. IMF, you're a big puppet show, but we understand why you are doing it. And I'm going to explain to the people why you are doing it. Because you, IMF, have done this already. So you can't come out with any PR stunt, you understand, to help, right? Crony capitalism, right? And to help and to spread your free market mentality, right? Because you have done this in the 70s to destroy democratic socialism and destroy mixed economy. Now, when we were doing mixed economy, Singapore came into Jamaica and took the mixed economic model, right, and take it to Singapore. And today, look on Singapore to us. Look at Singapore to us utilizing mixed economy because you are under the influence of the CIA and the IMF, you understand, want to utilize free market economy and wreck the Jamaican economy, kill democratic socialism. What we are going to prove tonight, we are going to prove the first evidence of how the CIA worked with the Jamaica Labour Party, right, in the 70s to destroy democratic socialism, right, to destroy mixed economy. We are going to have people, I want you to listen to this tape. When I play this tape, the person who had done this investigation, right, is one of the most professional person. As a matter of fact, this person speaks to also the American Congress. So I am not using a little local media. I am not using information, right, that is .com. We are using professional investigator that speaks to Congress in the United States. And that investigator is telling you how the IMF and the CIA work together to destroy democratic socialism. Now, they see that Mark Golding is stepping up into the poll. So then now IMF now is coming back with Edward Seaga 2.0. Again, you understand, to defeat democratic socialism because they don't want Mark Golding to surface as the winner. But let us remind the people, I want the people to listen to me attentively. Listen to this clip. Listen to this clip attentively. And hear how Seaga used the IMF and the CIA to destroy democratic socialism. Without any hesitation, play that clip.
You want to play from beginning?
Yes, that's just 10 minutes within. Yes. Let us pray. People, I want you to listen keenly. Listen keenly. Right? Yeah, we come to speak the truth.
Tell us a little bit about Louis Wolff and his journalistic publications. Who is Louis and what has he been doing over the years, and why is the government so outraged by him?
Well, his background is it's thoroughly legitimate, standard, if you will, journalism. He was assigned for a couple of years in Manchester, writing for a couple of prominent news organizations.
Manchester, England?
Yes, Manchester, England. And eventually made his way through London back to the United States, where he gravitated to a scrutiny of the CIA and the intelligence community, watching the revelations of the Church Committee, information that he had come across in his research, some of which he had published as part of news stories previously, other parts of which he was not permitted to publish by the nature of the press establishment. And so he put together with Bill Schaap and Ellen Ray the Covert Action Information Bulletin, whose function was to focus on the intelligence organizations of the United States and discuss and expose in a perfectly legitimate way the covert action activities of the CIA principally, as well as the other intelligence organizations. I believe they formed that in about 1976 and have been in Washington since, publishing stories of true stories. Their quality, their standards of journalism are exceedingly high. That bulletin is distributed in the State Department, and it's sold out the first morning that it's put on the stands in the State Department newsstands. They also publish in that bulletin the names of CIA agents and where they are now, as they're assigned and reassigned about the world. I believe that in very recent months they have ceased the policy of publishing names because the controversy is so hot, and they would just as soon. And also, it's never been their intention to break the law. They've made that clear from the outset. Bill Schaap is the brother. He is a highly competent attorney and is the brother of a top sportscaster in New York City. He is a very articulate man himself and has testified to the Senate many times against the names of Agents Bill, for example, and defending what he and Lou Wolf are doing. And after his testimony, many times senators have come up and shaken his hand and said, I disagree with you, but you certainly make your case for the legitimacy of what you're doing very well.
Let's take a look at some of the things which Louis Wolf had to say, and we'll let you comment ever so often on this, okay? What, in the years that you've been publishing it, do you think are some of your most significant revelations? Are there some stories that even shocked you?
Well, I think one of the big stories that we were able to document in some detail was the whole scope of CIA activities, similar to what the CIA did in Chile, and which was documented by the Senate Select Committee, was the whole covert action program in Jamaica in between 1976 and 1980. And we did a great deal of research into that, and we discovered in many ways a very similar program, almost a classic model that was followed along the lines of what they did in Chile, including three major categories: military, paramilitary activity, the use of propaganda in the media, and the third one, which was economic warfare, using the multilateral organizations, the International Monetary Fund and others, to withhold loans which had been promised to the Jamaican government. This is one example.
What are a couple more of the details of that? You particularly mentioned those first two examples of actual paramilitary activity the CIA was involved in Jamaica.
There was a fire, for example, that took place in Jamaica of an old people's home. I think 150 old and infirmed women, many of them blind, were living in this home. And as it turned out, the place burned down in the space of about 8 minutes, 7 or 8 minutes. It was discovered that the phone wires had been cut and that the exits had all been blocked. Even those who could see their way out could not get out. That the means by which the fire was set was the use of a petroleum jelly, which was unavailable in Jamaica. This was one indication, among others, that there was.
So, yes. So I played that clip as a burden of proof coming from one of the apex journalists as it relates to your investigation, saying to us that the Jamaica Labour Party, right, and the CIA, you understand, use the IMF and the CIA, right, go against Michael Manley government. And not only that, they had done worse as it relates to the house that was burnt down and killed over 150 odd elderlies. So then we are trying to show you that this is not the first time in a year IMF coming out and, oh, you know, Nigel Clarke, very good in macroeconomics and so forth and so forth. Yes, they can talk about that because Nigel Clarke reduced the bauxite levy and gave it to them. So they are happy that they are getting the Jamaican resources for free, our bauxite resources for free. So then, of course, yes, this is the government that is selling out. We have to make sure that this government is there, is here. You understand? But let me tell you something. We have news for them because we have the evidence to show. Now, let me show you that after that was done and the CIA participated and the IMF participated, you understand? Seaga, right? You understand? The thrifty eye criminal. That's why United States call him the thrifty eye criminal, right? Didn't want to fully give United States what he had promised them to crush mixed economy, crush democratic socialism, right? Which the CIA and the IMF helped him to do, right? And Seaga actually breaking his promise to them. I am going to show you that document, people. I am just not talking. It's not mystic sensation, right? Where the United States is telling Edward Seaga to deliver what he promised people. This is no joke. I go well deep for this research. Where the United States is telling Seaga to deliver what being promised. Let us show that document and let us get into that. The US message. So let us show the people what is going on. So when IMF run out, IMF can't save Jamaica Labour Party government. We are here to speak the truth. You can't save it. So let us show, right, where the United States go against Seaga. You understand? Let us show, because the CIA helped him and the IMF helped him to defeat Manley, and he didn't want to deliver quickly on his the promise. Here it is, the US message to Jamaica, Seaga. It's time to keep your promise. Yes, man. And this is September 2nd, 1986. Remember, this is what the US now is sending a message to Edward Seaga, that it is time for you to keep your promise, right? To destroy the mixed economy, to destroy whatever you destroy, and deliver what needs to be delivered. Let us hold on, Victoria?
No, it's done.
Okay. Let us get into the archive document, right? Now, 5:31 September 2nd, 1986, the US message for Jamaica, Seaga, it's time to keep your promise. Introduction. Jamaica Prime Minister Edward Seaga visit Washington, D.C. this week. His arrival should trigger in the Reagan administration a reappraisal of Jamaica's strategic role in U.S. Caribbean policy. People may hear that. The island's seeming potential and its special relationship with Reagan administration prompted Ronald Reagan in 1982, after they destroyed democratic socialism with Michael Manley, to state Jamaica is making freedom work. There then was solid reason to be optimistic about Jamaica's future. There is less today, and the culprit is Seaga. Let me read that over. There is less today, and the culprit is Seaga. He has not kept his promise to mobilize and unleash free market forces to resuscitate his nation's economy. People, there it is, evidence. When we're talking about free market, you understand, and to kill mixed economy. This is what, right? The reason why the IMF and the CIA defeat democratic socialism, and in extension, this defeat the mixed economy policy that we had that was working for us. Here it is as evidence. There is less today, and the culprit is Seaga. He has not kept his promise to mobilize and unleash free market forces to resuscitate his nation's economy. Seaga Jamaica Labour Party swept to electoral victory on October 30, 1980, with a mandate for change as great that won by Reagan less than a week later. And becoming Jamaica's new Prime Minister, Seaga promised an ambitious program to reverse 8 years of socialism. People, hear the evidence. Let us read it over again. Seaga promised an ambitious program to reverse 8 years of socialism that virtually had destroyed the island economy. To do so, he promised to pursue a free market strategy. Now, we remember when Michael Manley increased the Bauxite levy and everybody was living nice. Democratic socialism was for the people. But Reagan, as you see here, with Edward Seaga, want to destroy democratic socialism, destroy mixed economy, to allow free market, to show evidence, to show its strong pro-Western stance on foreign policy. Seaga broke relations with Cuba and downgraded ties with the other Soviet bloc nations. Today, Jamaica's great promise remains unfulfilled. Unfulfilled. To be sure, declines in world prices for bauxite. When you hear the people, I am telling you, this is the reason why you see they're talking and hugging up Nigel Clarke, because Nigel Clarke go back and roll back the levy. So we want you to understand what you're seeing when you hear the IMF coming out and bigging up Nigel Clarke, because these people are getting away with our resources. You understand? And crippling our nation, right? Let us, to be sure, declines in world prices of bauxite and alumina, principal Jamaica commodities, have slowed government development programs, leading to heavy borrowing abroad and a 3.2 billion foreign debt. Right? I speech by President Ronald Reagan to the organization 01 American States, Washington, D.C., February 24, 1982. Yet the main cause of today's economic woes, people know, hear it now. Hear it on this paragraph. Yet the main cause of today's economic woes is that Seaga's government has failed to create a fertile investment climate for foreign and local businessmen. I want to hear that. The sad truth is that state control of Jamaica's economy has actually increased in some sectors since the JLP assumed power. Jamaica is too important to U.S. and Caribbean regional security to allow its potential to remain largely untapped unless Seaga can revitalize its nation economy before the island's next election, which could be called at any time, but must be held by the end of 1988. Former Prime Minister Michael Manley and his Socialist People's National Party, right, could return to power. So you see the fear of having the People's National Party return to power. Take it away. Let me talk to the people. So the fear from having democratic socialism resurface in the early 70s, and where they plan with the CIA and the IMF to crush democratic socialism, my people of Jamaica, wake up, take the wolves over your eyes. They are having the same fear right now. So then, IMF, you paint Nigel Clarke to be the beacon of light as it relates to macroeconomy, where you know that the economy is failing miserably. But I'm going to show more evidence to the people tonight. And make you understand that, look, you don't come out here and pretty up Nigel Clarke. You don't do that, right? Nigel Clarke is the demons of hell that taking Jamaican people down to the abyss. So then we are going to correct that and change that narrative. Now let us get into more serious situation. Now, Nigel Clarke, let me talk to you, Nigel Clarke. The jump you jump to IMF, and we're IMF coming out and pretty up all of what they are prettying up. Yeah, man, we have seen IMF, you understand, Seaga 2.0. Andrew Ones, you understand, is utilizing Seaga 2.0. You understand? But guess what? The Jamaican people are smart, right? Jamaican people are smart. Social media is here to fact check. Social media is here to dig, and investigators like us here to research truth and surface them. Now let us get into the concern of the People's National Party as it relates to Nigel Clarke jumping away. So Nigel Clarke, let me ask you. You know what's coming down in the pipeline. You know that the illicit aid is coming down in the pipeline. Right? You know the corruption that you did. But wherever you are and wherever you are going to run, Nigel Clarke, right? Investigation is going to follow and proceed. You know the bangarang, right? So then when you pretty up and talking about it is the IMF contact you. I don't care zero. Whether IMF want to contact you or you want to contact the IMF, and then you run out with the narrative to straight that, okay, all right, Nigel Clarke is one of the best and he was selected because of his financial experience and, you know, his level of professionalism as it relates to macroeconomy. Fail. Big failure.
Mess up the budget.
Right? Mess up the budget. How can this man be the professional as you are talking, IMF, where he can't even angle a simple budget? Right? Where he's now going to leave and without explaining the budget shortfall. He's going to leave and not explain. The FinCEC report had completed. And guess what? We are not going to see it because Nigel Clarke is leaving. Right? The SSL investigation is finished. But we are not going to see it because Nigel Clarke is leaving. You are a set of demons, set of legions. Now, let us show why the People's National Party is concerned, and very much so. Lorna Brooks, nice topic, Mystic. Good, very interesting and fitting to let people know the danger of labor rights. We have to vote them out. 100% agree. Now, let us lift up the next document. We are here tonight, you understand, to change the narrative of the IMF because we know that the IMF they are a facilitator of wrongdoing. Now, let us get the document, Jamaica's leader, PNP concerned, and rightly so, as it relates to why the People's National Party is concerned about this economy. We are not playing tonight. We are not playing tonight. All right. We are not playing tonight. We are not playing tonight at all. Now, let us read for my folks, my viewers, and my listeners. PNP concerned about Jamaica's economic future after Clarke leaves for IMF job. Yes. Now, who can talk about dual citizenship now? And who can talk about loyalty? They can't speak about loyalty. They can't speak about loyalty. They do everything wrong in the book. The opposition People's National Party says Dr. Nigel Clarke's appointment as Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund raises significant concern about the future of Jamaica's economic management and leadership, and certainly so. In a media release on Monday in which the party congratulated Clarke, it noted that his departure comes at a critical juncture for Jamaica. It said the country is facing serious economic challenges. So there we go. He's running away from all those economic challenges, including the spiraling cost of living and the negative growth impact of the recent hurricane. Yes, running away. The timing of Dr. Clarke's departure also brings into question the government's ability and commitment to addressing the ongoing economic burdens facing the Jamaican people. We are constrained to ask whether his move at this time signals the abandonment of a sinking ship. And yes, it is so. He knows that the economic bottom of Jamaica has fallen out, leaving the Jamaican population to grapple with these unresolved issues, the PNP said. And these unresolved issues, of course, we talk about the SSL, right? Not clarified. Budget shortfall, not clarified. COVID-19 relief fund, not clarified. FinCEC report, not clarified. Illicit aid enrichment, not clarified. Education, healthcare, and security, those are in a crisis proportion, the PNP said. The opposition party said the government should immediately provide clarity on the transition plan of the Ministry of Finance, how it intends to manage the current economic pressure, and what strategies will be employed to mitigate the impact on the most vulnerable. This is an embarrassment to the people. It is to show you that, of course, Nigel Clarke finally gives, because he realized that, of course, he cannot resolve none of these issues, right, based on his own party doings with the sets of corruption, the level of cronyism, the level of nepotism and skullduggery. Let us move on. Clarke is set to assume his new role in October. Prime Minister Andrew says he has already identified a new finance minister, but he has not yet named the person. Take that away. Take that away. So when we say that, oh, Sister Maria is here. Sister Maria.
My brother, my sister, I have arrived.
Blessed Sister Maria. Sister Maria.
All right, walk one. Gonna run away yet.
I presume you haven't heard me ranting on the program.
Yeah. Listen, man.
Right?
You know, yeah. Greetings and good evening, good night to everybody in the chat.
Yes.
And I hope your week is going good so far.
Yes.
Yeah. It is interesting that the Minister of Finance is leaving at such a crucial time. And he's basically jumping ship. And I'm not saying it's not a lucrative position or whatever, but I mean, he's a finance minister. I would think that that opportunity being offered to Jamaica, they would find someone within the financial sector, whether the Bank of Jamaica, another person within the Ministry of Finance. But why the Minister of Finance himself? So he's leaving. But I don't know if you have gone through this part of it as yet, but is this the same finance minister that they said $20 billion, there was a $20 million shortfall in the 2023 budget?
Exactly, yes.
Right, and he's the one bailing on the government, bailing on the people of Jamaica. So they mash up Jamaica and gone about in business.
Exactly.
So, and the thing is that people need to understand, that even though the economy is doing well, it's doing well for the business class. Mm-hmm. And also, it's an economy that was the current structure that they're operating in was set into motion by Portia Simpson and Peter Phillips.
Yes, we are going to prove that
after
too.
It was abandoned by the whatever abandonment of the not paying the bills and what Bruce Golding did, and they had to go back to the IMF to get a deal to save the country. So that is what they're they're operating on. But with that being said, I didn't expect that he would be so quick to jump at this opportunity rather than stay and see it through. That's what I think. That's what a real leader would do. And who is going to defend Juliet Holness now? Come on, and say no. Don't you trouble Juliet.
Exactly.
So who going trouble? Who going to defend Juliet now? And who's going to give red card?
So you see, he's not there to do it
now. No, he's not there to do those things. Sorry for them.
But thank you, Sister Maria, for that input. But let me tell Jamaica that when you hear one of the son of one of our prophets, right, who had fought for us, Marcus Garvey's son, who is now endorsing Mark Golding, right, and saying that the people need to make the right choice, right? It goes to show you that time come. Let us show you what Marcus Mosiah Garvey's son is saying. Let us get to that document. Let us show the people what Marcus Mosiah Garvey's son is saying. Marcus Mosiah Garvey's son is saying this. Now here it is. Recent, Dr. Julius Garvey chants new leadership for Jamaica and backs Golding. Now, people, now this is serious. This is serious. When you see the son of Marcus Garvey chants new leadership for Jamaica and backs Golding, let us hear what he has to say. Dr. Julius Garvey used his 91st birthday celebration last Friday to endorse the opposition People's National Party. And people, this is big. This is huge. Telling guests that Jamaica is in need of a new leadership. Dr. Garvey, the son of Jamaica's first national hero, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, opened his birthday speech by thanking entertainer Richie Stevenson for hosting the event at his house in St. Andrew and expressed gratitude to PNP personalities Claude, Big Stone, Sinclair, as well as Paul Burke for organizing the event. Soon after, he jumped straight into his message of encouraging Jamaicans to make a change. People, this is very serious. Open quote. Let me quote Marcus Garvey. Son, open quote. I would like to thank all of you for coming out to help me to celebrate my 91st birthday. I would like to tell you that the birthday certificate is wrong, but I would be lying if I said that. The birth certificate is true, but I am blessed. I think the theme of today is obviously Marcus Garvey. And the second theme of today is to right the ship of Jamaica, because the ship of Jamaica has been in troubled waters and it needs a new captain. Dr. Garvey said, take that away. This is big. This is big. And I want to share that with my Jamaican people as it relates to Marcus Garvey's son. Recognize that we are in a serious predicament. So I'm saying, people, don't watch what IMF is saying about Nigel Clarke and an extension to make Andrew Holness look good, and in extension the JLP party look good, as if you don't have an illicit aid, as if you don't have Rural Reid, who had damaged the education sector in robbing the education sector, as if you don't have those. So IMF, you take a ease back. Sister Maria, what you have to say as it relates
but
to
we need to, we need to understand that having deals with the IMF is not healthy for any country.
No.
Show me a country in the world that has benefited from IMF agreements. Because the minute they sign those agreements, the first thing that those countries have to implement are austerity measures.
Exactly.
And one of the austerity measures has to do with not be wage freeze, like Portia Simpson had to do, as
Yes.
well as not being able to pay public servants a good wage. It also leads to the devaluing of the dollar. And then the thing is, you have to be borrowing money to pay the debt. So it's not like, you're borrowing money to put into infrastructure, that sort of thing. No, that's not what is happening. So I'm yet to see a country that has benefited, that can say they came through successfully with an IMF or World Bank agreement. They have not been successful. Look at any Caribbean country, any African country,
Right.
any country at all in the Caribbean, in the world, especially poor countries, they suffer at the hands of, because the policies that are put in place, the minute they sign that agreement, it's like a millstone around the neck of the people of the country. While the economy can benefit in terms of good fiscal management, the people who feel it the most are the people at the bottom.
Yes.
The people at the top, they can get to export and import, and they can benefit from the dollar being devalued. But the people at the bottom, they see price increases, and they see the price increases, but their salary increases, there is not matching up to the it's not matching up to the inflation rate that is created when there's an IMF agreement. So it is nothing good comes from having an IMF agreement. And I think PJ Francis said once that the best agreement is no agreement with the IMF.
Yes.
Because then you're free to do what it is you want with your country, but it is not healthy. And the truth is, Nigel Clarke going to the IMF doesn't benefit Jamaica or any country for that matter. Nobody benefits,
No.
because it's a policy situation, He's going to be part of drafting policies that create the same austerity measures that he presided over.
Exactly.
You understand me? So, it is. I haven't seen it, but I think I heard that Dr. Peter Phillips was offered the same position and declined.
Look at that.
And rightly so. If that, because I've been reading it in some places, if that is so, rightly so, because you have to choose your people, because he is going there to create the very policies that the Jamaican people need to come out of in order to realize any prosperity. Like, what is this porridge boss said? Andrew said things are going to trickle down and prosperity will reach them. But Nigel Clarke bailing on the prosperity. Yeah. So Nigel Clarke don't see the prosperity coming. So he is bailing on that prosperity. So why should the Jamaican people believe them when they talk about, prosperity? And freedom is right. We know the IMF has no credibility, and now as Jamaicans see it first. Exactly, they are not for making country. No IMF agreement has made any country better. Not one single one.
All right.
And if they keep doing that, they have to do whatever they can to move away from these IMF agreements, because these IMF agreements are draconian, and they don't help the people. And you know what it does? It really makes poor people poorer, because what you're going to find now is that they cannot afford to live inland, so they're going to move closer and closer to lands that are not safe, to low-lying areas. And what happens when you have a natural disaster? They're the ones most affected.
Exactly.
So their policies are not, and then the thing, it affects the farmers too, because they now have to, they're farming, but they're not able to, produce enough because of the importation of the very food that they are planting. So there's no out.
Speak it, Sister Mara, that Nigel Clarke had relieved the levy. You understand?
Yes.
From the green produce.
There's no. Exactly. So food coming in, exactly. No taxes on the food coming in, but the local food, you're taxing that. And if you tax the food coming in and not tax the local food, then the farmers will thrive.
Exactly.
And the farmers will not be in such a bind. And another thing, as we talk about, remember now he was bringing in horses. They took the taxes off horses. Who brings in horses? Exactly. People who own Kamana Spark, or the people who are uptown who are into show jumping and that sort of thing. It's not poor people bringing in horses, and you take the tax off that, but you put tax on the poor people's food. And there's also no levy and bauxite. So he's not getting any revenue from the natural resources that the country produces. So what purpose does he really serve? So he might as well just bail.
Exactly. All right. Thank you for that, Sister Maria. But let's just look at some of the things that Julius Garvey, was concerned about, and the reasons in saying to Jamaican people, you understand, basically, vote for Mark Golden. Put in Mark Golden, we need a new leader. These are some of the issues that Julius Garvey, had observed and realized that this government totally lacked leadership. Corruption after corruption plus corruption equal corruption. Now let us go to the YouTube. Over $1 trillion of public funds. This is the reasons, one of the reasons why Garvey, had spoken, giving people the encouragement to vote for the People's National Party. Bring up the document. All right. Over $1 trillion of public funds in question.
The Jamaica Accountability Meter portal, JAMP, views as worrying the revelation that some government ministries have been unable to properly account for trillions spent over a 10-year period. Executive Director Jeanette Calder says the permanent secretaries must be called to answer. How was the money spent? That's the trillion-dollar question being asked by Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis. In a Gleaner article, it was revealed that the Auditor General's department is being hindered from independently assessing how more than $1.6 trillion was utilized between two ministries and the Office of the Prime Minister, OPM. Those ministries are the Education and Health ministries. Mrs. Monroe Ellis noted that for 9 fiscal years, spanning 2012-2013, 2013 to 2018-19 and 2021-2022 to 2022-23, Parliament approved $902 billion, representing 13.7% of the national budget, to manage and administer public education in Jamaica. However, no appropriation account was done. It was a similar case for the Health Ministry, which Parliament had approved $695 billion to. The Auditor General said the accounting officer in the ministry submitted 15 of the 22 appropriation accounts for financial years 2013-2014 to 2022-23, but those did not meet the standards for submission. As for the Office of the Prime Minister, 3 appropriation accounts representing an accumulated budgetary allocation of approximately $12.02 billion are outstanding. Executive Director of the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, JAMP, Jeanette Calder, says based on the revelation, the country has been left in a quandary. She says the issue begins and ends with the permanent secretaries.
The permanent secretary needs to make sure that after 4 months when the year ends, she sends her report to Parliament to say, what have we done with the people's money? All right. When that don't happen, Delia, who's supposed to come and say, what are going? The people who get the report.
Yes.
Who are those? Are parliamentarians. So we have parliamentarians, for example, the Ministry of Health, for 10 years has not told our parliamentarians, told our Auditor General what they have done with our money. How much money we're talking about? Just a little bit under $700 billion. And that is a report that they have gotten every year for the last 10 years till it add up to $700 billion. What is the work our parliamentarians are doing for us?
She says what needs to be done is for citizens to understand the accountability framework, because only then will people be truly held accountable for the crisis facing the country.
Who do we call for? The first time something goes wrong. The minister. Gentle folks, there are no, Simone, that's the thing. There are 17 people in government with more teeth than a minister to sanction and to hold people to account. We don't know them things, Delia. So when these things go wrong, who we call? The political representative, who in the law has the least amount of power to do something about sanctioning and holding people to account.
Wix gives you the power of AI to build the website you need.
Over here, let me tell you something. Our mystic sensation is every single person comment, you understand, should be respected. Whether you're GLP or PNP, right, and we have different opinion, but we can disagree respectfully. So I want to put up Mr. Coley, right, information. And this is what Mr. Coley is saying. Pick up Nigel Clarke. Jamaica should be proud to have him nominated for such a high position. He has put Jamaica in a very good financial position, never before attained. Now, and this is one of the reasons why I put up this. As he said, never before attained. So, shut your mouth. So, Mr. Macaulay, now I'm going to show you evidence. Evidence, Mr. Macaulay. And I respect you for your comment. But tonight, if you are still here, I am going to show you solid evidence that no, that is totally misleading and it's a lie from the pit of hell. All right, and we can agree to disagree. So not that I'm going to talk, I am going to bring forward the evidence to you, sir. Now, since you say that, one of the first move that Nigel Clarke had made in appeasing crony capitalism, Mr. Wemner, Mr. Colley, right? Michael Manley, right, had increased the Bauxite levy, and so then to make that we can have tertiary level education, right, free. Education free up to tertiary level. Now, Mr. Colley, I'm going to break it down for you. It is Nigel Clarke who had remove that levy and hand it over to crony capitalism to get our bauxite for free. This is why the IMF is awarding him. Stand up, Mr. Coley, let me give you the evidence. When Nigel Clarke removed the bauxite levy, we were making from the bauxite levy partially $2 billion that we were making from the levy. So stand up, Mr. Coley, let me show you the evidence. Lift up this document. Jamaica collected $2 billion from bauxite levy. That Nigel Clarke removed that levy. So tell me, right, if this is a good move that Nigel Clarke had done since you came out and you spoke your truth. So it's time for us to not only speak our truth, but give you the evidence. Stand up, Mr. Coley. Here it is. No, yeah. Okay. Here is it, Mr. Coley. I hope you don't move, Mr. Coley. Jamaica collected $2 billion from the bauxite levy in late 2021. Finance Minister, is Nigel Clarke saying this, you know, Mr. Coley? The Jamaican Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clarke, has manifested that the government has collected $2 billion from the bauxite levy in late 2021. Take that document away. Just want to show the proof here. Right? Now, in the same breath now, Mr. Coley, Nigel Clarke had removed that levy. Right? Had removed that levy. Which means Jamaica is not getting nothing. If you understand what that means, it is zero levy, right? So $2 billion being taken away from the governor's coffers to please crony capitalists, right? So news for you. Not only that, I don't leave it there. I don't leave it there. Let me burst the bubbles of some of the things, and this is one of the reasons why maybe Nigel Clarke is running away. So turn up, Mr. Coley. I want you to hear me. No, let us get this and show Mr. Coley some things. Jamaica Cleaner, the government to sell off its shares in several infrastructures. That is the reason why Nigel Clarke is running. Stand up, Mr. Coley. I have news for you, Mr. Coley. Government to sell some of its shares in several infrastructure entities. Published by January 26, 2024. Stand up, Mr. Coley. I want you to see this. Don't go away. Don't go away. The government intends to, over the next 12 months, list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange some of its shares in several infrastructure entities. Stand up, Mr. Coley. These entities include South Jamaica Power, Trans-Jamaican Highway, you never know that, Mr. Coley, and the Jamaican Public Service Company. You never know that, Mr. Coley. Stand up. The listing is expected to be done via a special infrastructure vehicle, which is to be created for the purpose of the stock offer of the government assets, Mr. Coley. Making the announcement of the 19th Regional JC Investment and Capital Market Conference at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston on January 24, Minister of Finance and Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clarke, said the requisite approval have been received, including from the cabinet. This is something we started working on last year, and the requisite approvals have been obtained. It's been approved by cabinet, and we are now just working on the execution. As I mentioned, the government of Jamaica, through various institutions, owns 10% of South Jamaica Power, 20% of Trans-Jamaica Highway, and 19% of JPS. Take that away. Take that away. Take it away. Mr. Coley, let me ask you something now, Mr. Coley. Did you know that Nigel Clarke, who you are just big up, planning to sell off these things? Yeah? And the 19% shares that we have left in JPS, Nigel Clarke is planning to sell that. You never know that. Huh? You never know that. So Sister Monica, Sister Daisy, now, from those documents that I show Mr. Cole, what do you have to say before I move on? Because I am going to step seriously on him with the next two documents. But I want to hear from you, Sister Daisy.
Okay. It is one thing to be, on the Jamaican Society for the Blind. They have a plaque, and it reads, it is better to be born sighted and lack, worse to be born sighted and lack vision.
Yes.
First of all, selling off their assets, that which they can get money from in terms of dividends. Now, when they sell off their assets, their shares, when they give up their shares, the company know that they give their shares, so it's not getting that revenue.
Exactly.
So they are giving up revenue.
Yes.
That's what that means.
Exactly.
The $2 billion in revenue that he was getting from Bauxite. You know what that could do for education? But let's go back to what you read earlier with the ministry, two ministries plus the office of the Prime Minister, not being able to appropriate for funds that was allocated to their ministries and to the office of the Prime Minister. And I remember somebody coming out to say that, oh, it was under the PNP administration. 2 years, one year under the PNP administration, that's 12 to 13. Now, if they wanted to prove that the PNP administration was lacking in accountability, they would be the first to do this investigation and shame them, correct? Because they like to name and shame people, and they like to throw things out there. So you see the PNP do this, but this government has been in office for 8 years, and the 8 years, if there are more years that they have not been able to account for this expenditure.
Yes.
So you're talking about almost $700 billion in the Ministry of Health. You see that, the impact of that in the current state of the health sector right now.
Yes.
You're talking about $900 billion from the Ministry of Education. You see the impact of that in the current state of education right now. The teachers are just leaving in droves. The schools are broken. The children are not learning. You see that impact.
Yes.
The office of the Prime Minister, you see the impact of that. So it has real-time impact on the people of Jamaica. It is one thing to call the figures and it sounds like, okay, yeah, it's a lot of money. It is more than the budget for this year.
Yes.
And people are not, it saddens me that there's no broader conversation in the local spaces, whether it's from the civic societies, the churches, the private, especially the private sector. If anybody should be really raking the government over the coals for this level of misappropriation of funds, it should be the private sector.
Exactly.
Right? And where are the investigations? Because the parliament, they can call the heads of these departments and ask for an accountability.
Exactly.
What happened to these funds? And the fact that they have not done so tells me that they're too complacent because they have all pocketed the money because it has to have gone somewhere.
All right.
Because these permanent secretaries are supposed to produce reports and they have not produced reports. Why are they not in front of the parliament and asking questions where the committees to hold these people accountable? There's nothing going on, right? And then on top of it now, you have a finance minister who has given up resources. So when you give back all those stocks now to these companies, what do you're left with nothing. So he's not getting $1 from the bauxite levy. Bauxite is their natural resource.
Yes.
And you're not getting $1 from it after Michael Manley fought so hard, because that's how it was, They were giving them pittance for their own natural resources. And you had a prime minister who came and said, no, you cannot come into my country, take my natural resources and be getting more than I am getting. You cannot do that. So I'm going to impose a levy on you, and I'm going to own 51% of that. First time that a country like Jamaica fought the North American companies and won. And he was making $200 million a year. Can you imagine if that was still going on?
Oh my goodness.
Where they still own 51% of it? What did Seaga come in and do? What did he do? So you see, the Jamaica Labour Party government has a history of doing these kind of things. They don't come with policies to help develop the people. They come with policies to take away and put in the hands of corporate Jamaica. And the people at the bottom are the ones who are feeling it because their schools are broken, hospitals are broken, the roads are not fixed because they don't have the money to do it. And whatever money they get from the IMF, they have to pay down the debt and pay down their debt. And having $5 billion in the reserves or whatever money they want to brag about is only there to make sure it's a cushion for paying back the debt, you know.
It's borrowed money.
It's borrowed money. Exactly. They borrow the money to put it in the reserves. So guess what? To make sure they can go borrow more money again. That is what it is, you know.
And interest is going on it.
And interest is growing on it. And guess what? Guess what?
You borrow money to put in the reserve.
Yeah, but guess what? No, you have a government now, scarce resources, but they're spending money on stupidness. Needs. How much $1 billion did that cost? They spent $1.5 billion on a job to draft a job description for parliamentarians. Something you can just any sensible person can sit down and do. What, Minister of Health, Minister of Finance, easy. Yes. $1.5 billion. You know what that could do? And then you have all these ministries that are misappropriating funds. You have all these departments. You have $400 million being paid for an empty billion for taxes every year. And this is under this brilliant Nigel Clarke. And who should take pride? I'm sorry, but I don't see how you're going to take pride in going to work for an organization that imposes austerity measures on your country.
Yes.
No pride should mean that.
Nothing to be proud of.
Nothing to be proud of, because guess what? He is now going to preside over the very same austerity measures that is going to be imposed on Jamaica in the next IMF agreement.
But
he's going to be signing off on those things.
But the thing about it, Maria, is we understand the narrative that they want to paint. Because for Andrew Hornets, according to Andrew Hornets, yes, Nigel Clarke has been placed there after jump shipping. Jump ship. Remember that Peter Phillips had gotten the same offer and denied it. You understand? Because the Jamaican people are more important, right, than, you understand, going to IMF. You understand, to set austerity measures. Now, watch this. Let me show something, right, as it relates to, let me read what Robert Phillips said. IMF, similar to loan shark in criminal organization, sole goal is to destroy the Caribbean countries and other small nations, force them to sell out their assets for pennies, also exploitation, and yes, also force them, you understand, to devalue their dollar. So what Robert Phillips said is 100% correct. Thank you, Robert, for that. Let us move to the next document, and so people can understand better as it relates to the IMF, right? Now, bring up the next document. Financial Times highlight Jamaica history with the IMF. We are going to talk about that, right? Let us get into that. Financial Times highlight Jamaica history with the IMF. Let make our people aware what is going on here. And this is February 18, 2020. Financial Times highlight Jamaica history with the IMF. Let us bite into this, my people. Right? Look at the motivation of main players in the rocky relationship. Has Jamaica crashed yet? No, people. Listen what this is saying, you know. Looks at the motivation of main players in the rocky relationship. And the question asked, has Jamaica crashed yet? Because, you know, the IMF, right, under the austerity measure, is hoping that Jamaica should crash. But I'm going to tell you, as it relates to Coley, and that's why I'm going to school Coley with this document. So when he's applauding this Jamaican Labour Party government of doing his so-called success, right? Maybe he's speaking out of his, you know, myopic, you know, lenses. So then let me teach him with this document who really build Jamaica economy under certain pressure. Now, let us read. So Coley, I hope you're here listening. Looks at the motivation of the main players in the rocky relationship. Has Jamaica crashed yet? Is the question asked. That was the question that was jokingly asked at the beginning of a follow-up meetings relating to negotiations take place between the Jamaican government and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, in 2013, according to an official who was involved. Now, let me give you some backdrop of this. The Jamaican Labour Party under Bruce Golding, you understand, had fallen apart with the IMF, right? And damaged the economy. And so then when Portia Simpson got the economy, so I want him to understand this document. When Portia Simpson got the economy was flatline. Flatline, because let me back you up with some history now. Remember that when PJ Patterson left DMIT's office, he DMIT's office where he had paid up everything from the IMF, paid up IMF everything. Jamaica did not owe IMF 0 cent. I want you to know this. So when Bruce Golding took over, Bruce Golding went back to the IMF. And not only went back to the IMF, he also failed on the austerity measures that IMF set out for him, failed miserable, that him and that the Jamaica Labour Party government and the IMF fall apart. When Portia Simpson won in 2012, the economy was flatlined. And that's why the question asked up here, has Jamaica crashed yet? I want you to understand this document. So in 2013, according to an official who was involved asking that question, has Jamaica crashed yet? Because of what Bruce Golding did, I just want you to understand this document, sir. The story comes to us through a Financial Times article published recently in 2 parts entitled, Inside the IMF Outrageous, Improbably Successful Jamaican Program. Jamaica government officials of the People's National Party administration at the time would not have found the question funny. No, the question is not funny. You understand? Because they did not realize that Portia Simpson was going to survive. As the article stated, Jamaica was on the precipice. So, sir, do you hear this? Do you hear this? Portia Simpson came in 2012, and where Bruce Golding, right, wrecked the economy. And here it is in the document. As the article stated, Jamaica was on a precipice. I want you to understand this. While many tales in the international media of Jamaica's near miraculous turnover over the past few years have focused on the facts and figures that underline the positive shift, the piece from FT also looks at the events and the players which took Jamaica from desperation to innovation. So when you're talking about, you understand, over how much years and rare, blah, blah, and the Jamaican Labour Party strive to look good, and Nigel Clarke telling lie, you understand, talking about this and talking about that as if they are the one who fixed the economy. This is not true, sir. It is simply not true. We have the evidence here. Here is the evidence. Let me read over this paragraph for you to get it in your myopic head. While many tales in the international media of Jamaica's near miraculous turnover over the past few years have focused on the facts and figures that underline the positive shift, the piece from the FT also looks at the events and the players which took Jamaica from desperation into innovation. Let us now look now, sir. After the debacle of Tivoli Gardens' invasion to capture drug lord Christopher Dudus Coke during the Jamaica Labour Party administration in 2010, FT explained that a politically beaten Prime Minister Bruce Golding, right, reneged on an IMF agreement to freeze pay for civil servants and wreck the tortuously negotiated package with the Washington institution. People, I wanted to listen to this. The decision put the IMF agreement in jeopardy, which led to its disintegration. People, you hear that? It became stressful for me on a personal level, said IMF mission chief to Jamaica at the time, Trevor Alini. According to the article, I had taken the program more to heart than perhaps I should have. His statement alluded to the intense pressure experienced by all those involved. The GLP lost the next election and were succeeded by Portia Simpson PNP administration, which was immediately faced with a sobering challenge of equality. Tell me now, I want him to see this. The tepid recovery from a 3-year recession was already fizzling out, and the unemployment rate climbed to over 13%. So we're not talking about inflation rate. I want to know that it is Jamaica Labour Party who kick it, and the People's National Party who try to take it down. The FT story explained to boot the central bank's rapidly depleted foreign reserves were unnervingly low, enough to only cover 6 weeks of imports. You hear that, Coley? Most alarming, debt to GDP ballooned to a new recording high of 145% in 2012. You hear that, Coley? The servicing cost consuming a third of the budget. The PNP's attempt a new negotiation with the IMF led by Peter Phillips. So let us show you who bring back the economy. Let us show you who bring back the economy. Right where Portia Simpson go back and take loan and they expect that Portia Simpson to fail, and Portia Simpson succeeded. The PNP attempts a new negotiation with the IMF led by Peter Phillips, the Minister of Finance at the time, and BOJ Governor Brian Winter were handicapped by the IMF's mistrust because of what Bruce Golding had done in Jamaica due to multiple failed IMF programs over the years. Jamaica too carried its own mistrust of the IMF. The article explained that it is at this point that the government kicked into overdrive with a last-ditch effort to avert a collapse of the island's economy. You hear that, Coley? The Jamaicans sought the help of the head of Congress Financial Service Committee, Maxine Waters. You hear that, Coley? A well-known politician and a black woman said to be of Jamaican descent, to rally the Congressional Black Caucus to put pressure on the IMF. You hear that, Coley? So when Nigel Clarke run out to the talk about him set the economy on the path, and it is, paradise, and, and everything is looking good. See the people them who save the economy, Peter Phillips and Portia Simpson. Now, I can read on Coley. I will put it there in no move. Although at first, the IMF viewed this behind-the-scenes lobbying negatively, it did eventually force them to sit down and begin working out program. That tough program of austerity, as the here Sister Maria is talking about the austerity measures. You understand that when they borrow money from the IMF, they put on austerity measures. So several social program is going to crush. You understand? You're going to have wage freeze. So all of this that Portia Simpson had to do to save back the economy, that now Andrew Holness and Nigel Clarke, they go on like a them. You understand, with their policies and plan, bring back Jamaica. Man, uno go here, man. And we're now the IMF. Now they come back to trick the people. But Nigel Clarke and Rere, so which part it started from? I can read it. That tough program of austerity is now well known to Jamaicans. You let me tell you that. It involved extremely tough actions before assistance would be given, such as a 7.5% primary budget surplus, before interest payments are deducted for the foreseeable future, right? Remember, what Portia Simpson has to do has to take out some of the NHT money, right, and put it in there to have this, you understand, to get the loan, right? The highest in the world devaluation of the currency and further debt restructuring. This resulted in lower interest rates and freezing of public sector wages. So people, you understand, let me show you what Portia Simpson have to bear after Bruce Golding wrecked this. You understand that she have to deal with wage freeze, right, to fix back the economy. It is Portia Simpson need to be lauded. In 2013, an agreement was reached on a 4-year program sourcing $958 million from the IMF and $510 million from each of the Inter-American Development Bank and World Bank. However, the majority of these funds ended up servicing all IMF loans, what Bruce Golding did not pay. So people of Jamaica, here's the truth, and here's the evidence of what PNP had done as it relates to Portia Simpson and Peter Phillips. Thankful the government had the Venezuela Petrocaribbean. You remember, say PNP deal with this? Loans for oil plant in place at FT explained that at 2015, paper published by the Center for Economic and Policy Research estimated that Jamaica paid $138 million more to the IMF than it received in 2014, and concluded that without hundreds of millions in financial support from Venezuela and China, the impact of the IMF-led austerity would likely be far worse and ultimately politically untenable. But it was the tough IMF targets that brought out the innovations for which Jamaica, during this period of austerity in its history. So we could talk who are the heroes of the economy has become most famous, with the IMF holding the belief that at some point the Jamaican people would not be willing to take these measures anymore. You know, hear that? IMF, they wish that the Jamaican people could not take these measures anymore. Members of the private sector put forward a plan to oversee the government commitment to the program. This became what was known as the Economic Program Oversight Committee, an undertaking so unique that former IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde commented that the fund had never seen anything like it anywhere before, and that this is surely a role model that should be emulated elsewhere, with everybody inside the tent. All voices are heard and everyone has a stake in success. You hear that, Mr. Coley? You hear that? JLP now have no success in none of this. No success. When they hand over the government to Portia Simpson 2012, the economy wrecked. This is evidence for you, unless your brain tough for you to deny this. This is 100% living facts. FT went on to relate that this commitment by the wider Jamaica community at large was a key factor in the continuation of the program by the JLP administration, which succeeded the PNP in 2016. So let me read that to you. You understand who started it and set the example? Here it is, sir. FT went on to relate that this commitment by the wider Jamaican community at large was a key factor in the continuation of the program by the JLP administration, We succeeded PNP in 2016. So when Nigel Clarke are run out, you understand, and Andrew Holness are run out, they are utilizing the policy of Portia Simpson and Peter Phillips. Full evidence. Let me read it over to you, Coley. FP went on to relate that this commitment by the wider Jamaican community at large was a key factor in the continuation. He never said it stop. The continuation of the program by the GLP administration, we succeeded the PNP in 2016. Take it away, make we talk to the panel. Beat you come to beat and teach. We don't play.
But you see, that's why it is important to inform the Jamaican people and edify them, and they need to become edified voters. Andrew Holness was a part of that Bruce Golding administration,
Okay. Let them know.
That wrecked the country.
Let them know.
Okay? When they were busy curry favoring with a criminal. He had more rights than law-abiding citizens in Jamaica. So they were busy with that. All right? And had it not been for Portia's political capital, for her charisma, and for the fact that she's well respected the world over, they would not have been able to get that IMF deal because they no longer trusted Jamaica, and Jamaica didn't trust them either. But you cannot take up a person's money. They have to set the parameters within which you can pay them back. So you cannot fault them for giving them these austerity measures. You were the one who went to borrow their money in the first place.
Yes.
Okay. So they have those austerity measures. And Andrew Holness is the same person who criticized the government when they were passing the IMF agreement, the IMF test. You see, this is how Andrew Holness is corrupt.
Yes.
Andrew knows that given the previous administration that he was very much a part of, given what they did and the failures of that administration of which he was a part, that if the government of Portia Simpson Miller did not live up to the new agreement, then it will plunge the economy. It will destroy the economy. He knew that, but he was still out there criticizing the government for passing the IMF test when they had to pass those tests. They had to, and he criticized them and says wanting to pass the IMF test, but you have to pass I forget the term he used, but it had to do with, providing for the people. Yes, we understand that, but because of you, Andrew, and your administration, you was a part of it, and that is why, him talking while being, in opposition, forgetting that he was in the very administration that did that and behaving as though everything was all copacetic and so, no, it wasn't. And had they not made those tough decisions, they wouldn't be in this place that they are right now. So it's not something that Nigel Clarke did. It was set in motion by the very people that he was making a mockery of. Remember when he went to Parliament with the basket?
Yes.
Forgetting that, guess what? The reason things were so bad was as a result of Bruce Golding administration doing what they did. So he should not be doing that. And here the hypocrisy of it. Here he is now. Why has he not taken those baskets back to Parliament? He should. He should. And he's now bragging about the economy, and he's now brethren, you did not set this in motion. You inherited that.
Exactly.
You inherited it. So Nigel Clarke, not taking away from his brilliance and his training and his skill set. He's a policy person, but he's not a good finance minister.
Exactly.
He's not. And another thing too, corruption eats away the very resources that the people need to survive. Yes. Jamaica is corruption central. And the amount of money that is lost to corruption, okay. And I always have to use Mayor Swaby as the example. Feder was busy federing for 8 years when he was in the KCMC.
Yes.
Mayor Swaby took it over in February of 2024. And in 3 months, what he did with the budget that he had is amazing. So it goes to show you that when they spend the money that they have on the people's work, doing the people's, things get done. But if they're siphoning it off to pay their concubines and their to take care of their feathering, then you're not going to have any money to spend on people. You're not going to have any money to put into infrastructure.
Yes.
Look at the market downtown that he was able to clean up. Look at all those places that he was able to take care of, given the limited amount of money that he has to work with, and things are getting done. So if every ministry applies the same approach by
Yes.
making sure they spend whatever little money they get on
Yes.
doing things, then they don't have to keep fixing and fixing and fixing. It is the constant fixing and fixing that is creating this problem where they never get in it. Nothing can get done. We have to go back to the $1.7 trillion that is not being accounted for.
Yes.
$900 billion in one ministry. Make some sense.
Exactly.
And two very important ministries, education and healthcare.
Yeah.
And you see the effects of it. You see that the money is misappropriated
Yes.
because there are no beds in the hospitals, there are no MRI machines, there are no CT scans, there are no dialysis machines. They had to stop receiving patients at the University of the West Indies Hospital.
Yes.
Okay, there's no medication. So
It's a
you
crisis.
see the effects of this stolen money. You see the effects, and yet Andrew Holness is saying to the Jamaican people
Yes.
that you're to still vote for these kind of persons who cannot account for the money that they are being given to spend for the people who elected them and put them there to serve. And that is why we say to the Jamaican people, you cannot sell your vote. When you sell your vote for $5,000, you have given them 5 years to wreck your life. You have given them 5 years to do whatever they want. They don't have to do anything for you because they already pay for it. How long can that $5,000 serve you? And that's why it reminds me of the song that Bob Marley says, "Them belly full, but we hungry."
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. No, thank you for that contribution, Sister Maria. But we are going to again, right, show the people of Jamaica locally and in the diaspora, right, as it relates to how the IMF is talking about Nigel Clarke being employed based on experience. I want to say, okay, all right, he's doing a good job. Let us show the Jamaican people the truth here, right, on the next document, that Nigel Clarke is simply a failure. And the reason for the IMF, you understand, to preserve and protect Nigel Clarke, because of course, he's handing out to them, right, all of our resources, right? And that's simply what Nigel Clarke is doing, right? Want to give strength, right, to capitalism, right, to sink democratic socialism. Without any further delay, let me come up with that document and let people see. And this is the Jamaica Information Service. You understand that we are getting this information from. So this information is coming from solid source, right? So they can't say that we are dealing with misinformation and disinformation. Let us bring up this JIS document and show people when we talk about the failure, the callous failure of the Jamaica Labour Party. So don't listen to the IMF try to color, right, and paint Nigel Clarke. You understand? No, Nigel Clarke is someone who is selling out Jamaica resources, right? And there it is, our bauxite levy for free. Trish Newman, how the hell can an entity as the IMF employ someone as Nigel Clarke to that position? Also, Nigel Clarke must have been a US citizen all along and in Jamaica. Now, to come to think about it.
Yes, because his wife is American. So he now is automatically gonna get the status.
No, Mario, right there in terms of what Trish said, right? Could be a strong possibility. Right? Right there what Trish Newman just said. Right? No, how the hell Can an entity as the IMF employ someone as Nigel Clarke to that position? Also, Nigel Clarke must have been a US citizen all along and in Jamaica Parliament. Oh, and why? Right? Very, very, very good. Right, Trish. Right, I like that, you know, deductive reasoning there. Right, because Trish could be 110% correct. Right? Could be. Now let us look at this. Thank you, Trish, for that contribution. Ingrid Coke. Amen, Trish. Newman, what does it say about the said organization? That's why I tell you that the people here in the chat, I tell you, they are coming up with some strong probity. You understand? And we love that, right? We love how the chat is engaging. Now let us get into this document as it relates to JIS, and let us, you know, tune in terms of what this document is saying. JIS, Industry Ministry says country must increase export. And yet, the IMF is bragging about Nigel Clarke, you know, studied macroeconomic this and macroeconomic that. Industry Ministry says country must increase export. Let us get into that. Now, and here, right, Industry Ministry says country must increase exports, and rightly so. Chris Patterson, October 25th, 2022, people, let us get a bite into that. Right, full story. More focus must be placed on exports to improve the country's trade gap, says Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator, the Honorable Arbin Hill. This is what the Senator is saying. Citing 2021 data, the Minister said Jamaica imported products and services valued at US $5.975 billion, 975 million, right? As against export value at $1.441 billion. So people, I want to look at that now because there's a big trade gap is right here. So when by me looking at this, right, and judging this in terms of simply mathematics right here, we are now looking at roughly about $4 billion, right, in trade deficit. And so then we are talking about Nigel Clarke doing well. Now, the ministry was making its contribution to the State of the Nation debate in the Senate recently. The gap is, okay, here it is. The gap is US $4.5 billion. One import item, fossil fuel, cost us approximately $2 billion in 2021. That dwarfs the mere $1.441 billion, right, that we export. So you can see we are in trouble, he said. Take that away. Take that away.
But in order, but Byron and in order for the country, any country to grow in manufacturing, it has to lead with manufacturing.
Exactly.
And productivity. And the thing is, but it wasn't it Minister Terrelong who came out last year and said for the first time in Jamaica's history they exported more than they imported.
But yeah,
and we were like, exported what? Dirt?
He took it down in 3 days. 3 days he took it back because people in his party said take it down because that's plain lie. So he took it down. Right? That will show you that, you understand, as it relates to the PR. He's running out, coming out that Jamaica is exporting, right, more than how they are importing, right? Blatant lie to the Jamaican people. And that's what they do. That's what they do, right? Now, let us get into this and make the people understand that one of the reasons why Jamaica is suffering as it relates to manufacturing, Maria, is it simply the high cost of energy? Let us go back to JPS. right? So any innovation as it relates to moving towards manufacturing, the overhead cost as it relates to high energy cost, right, is going to handicap, right, their profit margin, right? And so then it's difficult, you understand, to innovate and to manufacture in Jamaica based on the high energy cost. So we have to do something about JPS. The direction where we need to go, right? And that's why we said we love and defend the People's National Party policy is renewable energy. So that you understand, if we make the domestic homes, right, becomes, utilizing renewable energy, and we do it in a slow process, winning people off the grid slowly but surely, it simply means that we are increasing the purchasing power in, right, the middle class arena. The middle class, what Jamaica need to understand that it is the middle class pay most of the taxes in Jamaica. The middle class is the working engine of any economy, right? The middle class. It is the middle class that heavily tax more than anyone else. The middle class is the workhorse of any economy. So we have the middle class struggling, right? As it relates to high energy costs that pressure the middle class, because that is one of the expenses that a lot of Jamaicans are struggling with. So then to show you how Andrew Holness wicked in 2005, because JPS has the monopoly. This is how wicked Andrew Holness is, Maria. So when Andrew Holness said that he's going to bring in bigger companies, you understand, to give JPS competition, Andrew Holness blatantly lied, because he knows very well that he cannot bring in those companies while JPS have the monopoly. Because if he does that, JPS is going to sue him. You know how vicious and lie the man is? The man is so vicious and lie, giving promise on the campaign trail that when the Jamaica Labour Party is in power, we are going to bring in the bigger companies, right? And we are going to give JPS competition, right? So that the price of fuel can, the price in energy costs can go down. Well, he know that he cannot do that because JPS has a monopoly, and if you go against that monopoly, you are going to be sued. Right? So blatantly lying to the people, No, and this is the viciousness where Andrew Holness comes as it relates to promising. So we are going to show it, Now, people, watch this now. We are going here. Now, in spite of what we have seen now, we are on the election eve, right? JP is in trouble. Number one, the illicit enrichment, right? That is a primary issue, right? Because you cannot be asking the Jamaican people, you understand, to go and vote for some set of thief. Let me say it now and say it plainly. You cannot be asking the Jamaican people to enter an election and go and vote, you understand, for some set of thieves, right? Who robbing the treasury and in extension putting their hands in people's pocket, because that is what they're doing. You cannot be asking. So the Jamaica Labour Party is in trouble. Let me talk. But let us talk about politicians who are dealing with true representation. And since the People's National Party had won the local government election, particularly the CSEC, we are going to show people in terms of representational politics as opposed to JLP being there for 8 years. And in space of no time, within 100 days, the amount of things that Swaby had accomplished Trust me. It is just unbelievable. Now, let us highlight Swaby and to show you, as it relates to representational politics, everything that Swaby promised, he delivered on. So this is the reason why we said we want the People's National Party up and running. Now, let us, without any delay, let us go into inside Mayor Andrew Swaby first 100 days. Okay, let us get that, right, to show you the amount of work, right, that Andrew Swaby is doing with the little bit of budget that he has, as opposed to the Jamaica Labour Party. You understand? Because of here, billions them spent money, billions spent in healthcare, and the healthcare system dilapidated, right? Billions spent on security, and you know how crime go, right? And Swaby, you understand, with a mega budget. Look what Swaby is doing. And when Donovan Williams were there, right? You understand? He has not seen fit, you understand, to do what Swaby, you understand, has been doing within 100 days. And he has been there, you understand, for more than 6 years. Let us play this.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Now, today we are honored to have with us His Worship, the Mayor of Kingston, Councillor Andrew Swaby. He's the councillor for the Vineyard Town Division in St. Andrews South Eastern. Mayor Swaby was sworn in as the new Mayor of Kingston on March 12 of this year, which means he joins us on the 100th day of his administration. Well, welcome to Sunrise, Mayor. How are you?
I'm good, fulfilling. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. You are no stranger to local government. You're no stranger to you've been the councillor for the Vineyard Town Division for a while. Now you are in the big chair at the KSAMC. What's it been like?
It has been a fulfilling job. I am enjoying it. I'm working closely with the councillors from both sides of the fence, and I'm the staff headed by the town clerk. And we have been doing excellent things. We have been discussing what we want to do, and we'll make sure that we execute it in an efficient and effective way.
We know what we've been picking up in terms of your public pronouncements, in terms of how you've been pounding the pavement. But for those who don't know, when you got in office, what was your vision? These are the things I want to do in my first 100 days.
I wanted to, I know I wouldn't have completed it, and it's hard to complete it, but I wanted to change the mindset of persons, especially in the downtown area, about having a cleaner Kingston. And that, as a result, I've made sure I focus on around the parade area that we're heavily traversed. I want to make an impact into how we see ourselves in terms of bringing transparency and accountability. And as a result, what I've done, I've made sure I have public signing of contract. We have also posted our contracts on the website, and we have also partnered with the Integrity Commission to have some courses, short courses on good governance and anti-corruption framework. And more importantly now, I want to make sure that we get greater participation at the local level. So what we have been doing, we have broadened our the political landscape in terms of community involvement. As a result, you would have noticed that I have indicated there are some stakeholders that we should speak to, and I've started to speak to them. For example, citizens' rights to the city, because they have been critical, and rightly so, of the KSAMC, and I've started to engage them.
You mentioned before about effectively and efficiently leading, and you mentioned conversations on both sides. What is the measure for you when you're doing this job to be an effective and efficient leader?
The measure for me, immediately, to see actually both sides at the table. For example, when I'm going on tours, when I'm having meetings, which I'm not obligated to, I make sure I invite both sides to the table. They are hearing the things that I'm hearing for the first time at right there. You will not see the results right off the bat, but you want to make sure you promote the whole issue of unity in the council. And it must not be said, but it must manifest itself.
That's right, that's right. You did mention as well a cleaner city. We were chit-chatting just before we came on, and we were talking about just the mindset of our people and the mindset maybe in terms of understanding the importance of a cleaner city and the further implications. Let's talk about that a bit more. Why is it so important that we have a cleaner environment?
I am a firm, let me just start by saying that I'm from the country. And we might not have the best in terms of housing stock, but you have yard space, and you are required every month to go out there, even before you go to school, and clean the yard, rake your yard, and those things. And it helps you in how you think.
Yes.
For example, a lot of the garbage downtown are around the vending areas, and I want the vendors to understand that they are running a business just like the biggest businessman, and you cannot thrive in chaos. You cannot thrive in an untidy place. So that's a mentality. I want to shift the mentality around it.
But okay, a part of what we have to do to some extent is in terms of the public communication, moral suasion. But one of the reasons why you're in the chair that you're in is because you've successfully made the case that the administration before may not have put the right systems in place or manage the systems to make the place clean. So I want, in terms of a definitive statement, in terms of what you are going to do differently, in terms of managing the resources of local government to make the place cleaner.
All right, let me tell you what I've started to do. My first meeting as mayor was with Mr. Orlegard, the executive director.
Good.
And I stressed the importance of having a partnership, even though it's not the case, it's directly responsible for taking up your garbage.
Right.
So that's one aspect I've done. I'll tell you, in downtown area, there are a lot of wholesales that are controlled by the Chinese.
Yes.
I've so far gone to the embassy just to sensitize them, because we'll be going into these wholesales and we'll be, and other, not only the wholesales, and other business, to make sure that we can identify that they have a reputable person that has taken away their garbage. In most instances downtown, what you find is just a cart man just get it and go and throw it somewhere. And those are some of the stuff that we want to do.
And as Dennis always says, somewhere is a place.
Yes, somewhere is a place.
Yes.
All right. Now, I played that clip for you to hear all of what he had promised. Now I am going to show you that it wasn't just promise. He delivered on everything that he had promised. And this is why I arranged them in a chronological sequence for you to understand. Everything that he had promised here, look on the delivery, people. Look on the delivery. Now, Mayor and just yeah. Look on the delivery, people. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
You finish? Okay. Now we are going on all of them to show you what happened. Let us get into this. We are showing everything that, so you see, he's showing picture of then and now, how it look and how he set it. Let us give the YouTube clip. You can send me you see the fix up crossroad. Let us show it. Let us show it.
I had stopped going to the Crossroads Market because of the nastiness. I was tired of posting pictures of the nastiness. Today I took a chance because I needed to check my mark and to check the butcher. I needed a leg of lamb, a leg of goat for my birthday. I was pleasantly surprised. It is possible. We don't have to live as nasty as we do sometimes. I really give thanks that the mayor has kept his word. This is actually a place I am proud to come to. I had stopped going to the cross.
Let us get into this one. Let us show them right? That promise made, right? And work delivered. And this is what we want when we talk about representational politics. Let me read it for you. Kingston Mayor promised action on illegal vending. Remember, he spoke about it. Market conditions. Here it is. Mayor of Kingston Andrew Swaby is urging market vendors to acknowledge that poor market conditions are not a justification for illegal vending, noting that the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation is ramping up efforts to improve more markets. Speaking to us at the first quarterly press conference at the CSEC building, which marked his first 100 days in office, Swaby highlighted the progress made by the CSEC during its tenure and outlined future plans. However, when asked about the issue of illegal vending, specifically in the downtown area of the city, Swaby said he plans to continue discussions with vendors, not only to help them understand the consequences of their actions, but to hear their concerns and reach a suitable agreement. Take that away. Now, Sister Maria, as we said, this is what we talk about representational politics, right? Everything promised being delivered. You want to touch it before we go and show as it relates to Andrew Holness, promising a lot of things.
Yeah, but you see, and back to my earlier statement that when they spend the money that they are allocated on the things that they got it for, things get done.
Exactly.
And if they keep doing that, then they won't keep up to fixing old things because they'll be moving on to something else. So it's not that it cannot be done, they choose not to do it. And
Exactly.
it cannot be that every politician that comes is corrupt. There has to be somebody that is not corrupt. Because who is hurt? The people, and the people who are voting for you. So they don't vote for you to make their lives worse. They vote for you to make their lives better. So whatever monies are being allocated, why do they keep siphoning it off? And when they siphon it off, whatever little is left can barely do anything. So that's why nothing gets done. As you can see, 8 years of FEDA. And what did FEDA do? Just FEDA in. And
yes,
change in administration, and he decides that that it cannot be business as usual. Something has to be done because it's Coronation Market. It's where everybody goes to get everything,
Yes.
And I remember seeing lots of videos of people. She's selling the vegetables right there, and the filled water, everything is running there. That makes people sick. It makes people sick. And it doesn't mean that because they're higglers, you have to treat them less than they're human beings. Exactly. And all the uptown people don't have to go down there, but their helpers go down there to get the food. Or they just go to the supermarket and buy the imported one. But the local one is better than the imported one. Yeah. Because more times than not, they are buying genetically modified food in the supermarket and not the organic stuff. So when they go to the local farmers, they get the organic stuff. So I'm quite sure, and the gentleman who was talking, he's going to buy a leg of lamb. Clearly, he comes from uptown, because so many poor people can buy a leg of lamb and a leg of goat. Yeah. I was sitting there and saying, he wants a leg of lamb and a leg of goat for his birthday. So he clearly came from uptown and was surprised. So spend the money, what is allocated in your ministry, on what it is supposed to. Look at what Ruel Reid did in the Ministry of Education. He robbed the poorest of the poor. That's who he robbed. And if we are not careful, we can see him back in the Ministry of Education, because this is a government that doesn't give a damn.
Exactly. All right. Thank you for that, Sister Maria. So let us do the comparison as we're talking about politicians who serious about their responsibility and representing the people well, as opposed to politicians who deal with connery, trickery, right, and pilfering. Now let us look at this.
Okay.
All right. Let us know the difference, the night and day. right? The night and day between, true politician who care for the people and mean the people well, not care for their pockets, right? And so then we're going to see the difference between night and day. 100 days and Swebe deliver. Now listen to this.
Within our first 100 days of government, we will start the legislative process to fix the date for general elections in Jamaica. So no government will be able to come and make false promises and hide the truth and tell you half truths and trick you into voting for them. And then when them win, them throw on poison for you.
100 days. The fixed election date. Still I wait for the promise to fulfill. One broken promise after another. Laughable, as we say. None of your promise not fulfill yet, boss. So there you wait.
Within the first 100 days of our government, we will start the legislative process to institute impeachment proceedings in Parliament. This will add another layer of protection of the Parliament to ensure that only members of unquestioned integrity sit in the Parliament.
All ministers under the new Jamaica Labour Party government will be given a job letter. That job letter has a timeline of 2 years and 6 months with key performance targets, which are agreed upon by the cabinet, focused on two things: economic growth and job creation.
Andrew, you need to do what you said from 2016. You say you're going to put it on paper. So anything you put on paper, the MP have to work with it. So you need to do it now. I feel like, say, when you do that, the MP will do them work and we will see work done in the community.
Within the first 100 days of government, we will start the legislative process to introduce term limits on the office of Prime Minister.
Andrew, unless January, him break him promise and nothing him say I'm gonna do, for the next 100 days, and now him not do nothing. Him not keep no promise, and him say I'm the promise keeper. What a promise, January star.
At a convenient time within our new government, we will hold a grand referendum on the CCJ, the Caribbean Court of Justice, as the final appellate court.
You make so much promise for us. Look how long you're in there. Nothing done. All for the Covert. They promised the people them $25,000. Nothing done. Huh? So what you expect me to do? Tell me if you sleep with the door and window open and nothing done.
No, those are not the only promises, right? So what you are going to do?
But Byron, he said, in the opening, he talked about in his parliament, it's only people of unquestioned integrity. He's going to sit in his parliament. He need to vacate. He and his wife and all of them need to vacate because he has not signed the code of conduct. His statutory declarations cannot be certified, and he's still there. And in a normal functioning democracy, he could not have survived a year, let alone 3 years. So this is something that, and the thing, and here's the thing, if this was Mark Golding, you would have to peel his ass off the roof the way he would be behaving. And rightly so. But it must apply to him as well. So the standard that he just talks things, but it's like, do as I say, not as I do. Because the most corrupt person in Jamaica right now is Andrew Holness.
Exactly. But he was right when he said that he promises. He made a promise to his family that they will never be poor again. So he's making sure he's keeping it.
Okay.
Exactly. And forget the Jamaican people who put him in office and put him there to represent them and to serve them, because he said that, the PNP government was doing nothing, and he's going to come in and let you sleep with the windows on your doors open.
Exactly. And yes, so we reached to the final document as it relates to one of the things that he had promised and didn't deliver. And, you know, after this document, right, we will be just asking Maria to do a closing statement. And of course, I will be closed out as well. So let us go to the final document. Clarkstown to be transformed into a city. Now, Clarkstown people, I know that you are, you know, looking for the city. City status that you're supposed to be transformed in, but you know, sorry, it's not coming. That's Andrew Warner's, one of Andrew Warner's promises that we'll never be able to see fruition. All right. Clarkstown to be transformed into a city, as according to Wholeness, right? Clarkstown in Chulani is set to be transformed into a city. Prime Minister Andrew Wholeness has stated. He made a statement in a Jamaica Labour Party JLP meeting held in the rural district on Saturday night. All the youths in the area, those who have graduated from school, those who have graduated a little while ago, they don't have to run from Clarkstown. They can make Clarkstown into their own little city. That's the idea, only stated. He noted that this year, the government will break ground for 1,000 hotel rooms at Harmony Cove, while the Rio Hotel will soon complete another 300 rooms. The workers in these hotels are going to need places to live. So this is how this government plans to address this need. In this year, 2024, the Housing Agency of Jamaica will break ground at Panarasos in Clarkstown to construct 720 housing units, Wholeness announced. The Prime Minister explained how the building of the 720 units will transform Clarkstown. With more people coming to live in the area, there is going to be opportunities to build more supermarkets, open new service-oriented business, and generally expand the services now offered in the town. Do not forget the job opportunities that this transformation will provide. Take this away. Take this away. This is the Prime Minister said that you are not to vote for certain party because when you vote for the party will dash poison on you. It seems that the Prime Minister is just defining himself, talking about himself. Sister Maria, what say you? Right?
Yeah. The Prime Minister was, Andrew, when he was in opposition, was projecting. You know, he was just saying, this is what I was going to do, but he coached it in a way to say, oh, they are going to do it. But it's really him, that himself he was talking about. But you know, Clarkstown, he made so many promises, and they're going to build $1 billion market. First of all, if the Buff Bay market that he's building, it cannot cost $1 billion. He's mad. He's going to turn Portmore into another, in a way, yeah, because that's going to be a parish. Then he's going to build, what else? He was going to build something else. Oh, Little Miami. Portmore's going to be Little Miami.
Little Miami.
All right? Right. Portmore's going to be Little Miami. So he makes but yeah, is it the same government that had a $20 billion shortfall in last year's budget and had to make 15 amendments to this year's budget after closing the budget speech?
Yes.
So where was he going to get that money from? Because he's the same person saying money don't come out of thin air. And then he says those things on the campaign trail, knowing full well that he doesn't have the money for it. No. So it's really just tricking the people all over again. Just give me a vote, and then he's going to throw on the poison on them, because he threw the poison on them who had election during COVID. The people get COVID. After election, he locked down the place and said, if you don't wear a mask, I'm going to charge you $200,000. And then he put on SOEs and ZOZOs. So that is what they give to them. For a young man, he's a despicable human being. How can you treat the people you're elected to lead with such dismissive? He's dismissive of them.
Yes.
Because their concerns are not what he is mindful of. He's not mindful of their concerns. He is not bothered by their concerns. He's bothered by his legacy and what makes him look good in his own eyes. So he's a narcissist.
Exactly.
Right? So none of what he's doing is working. And coming out and making all these promises, I'm like, stop now. He come out and he wears Clarks and he say, "Where I'm one of you." No, you're not one of them. Okay? And then he come out and he roll up his pants foot and he walk barefoot through river and mud and he stand up barefoot. The people need to stop entertaining that kind of nonsense and say to him, "But Prime Minister, all of you out here standing barefooted with us. When you leave here, you're going to go into your fancy cars. You'll be chauffeur driven. You're going to wash your foot with beer rum, put your socks on, put your shoes on, and you're gone. We have to do this. This is our lived experience. You're just doing it for photo op. Your photo op is our lives, our daily lives, our daily experience. So it's not something to be toyed with. Has he done anything to change that? No. He was going to give a fall cup to this lady. And he was walking through the mud and he wiped off his shoes in the mud to go. You see, those are the things. He's given one donkey to one person. And this is the same man who criticized the government before, said they're not doing this and they're not doing that, when he was a part of an administration that just wrecked the country. And they had to come now and crawl basically and take the time and to rebuild that which they destroyed. And they're rebuilding it now. And the system is not making any better. And all it does is talk, and nothing to show for it. And there's no accountability. He only talks about we need accountability, good governance, and transparency. But it's the most sealed government that we have come across, because he has put gag order on his members of parliament, the Integrity Commission that is charged, given the responsibility to hold them accountable. They have a gag order on them. So what kind of a country is he running, really? What about the people's freedom of speech? What about the young people? You look at crime. You cannot address crime without addressing education and poverty. Where is the money to invest in those things? $1.7 trillion is yet to be accounted for. And we understand why the Prime Minister's statutory declarations are yet to be certified. And we understand why you had last year, it was 6 parliamentarians on the investigation for illicit enrichment. This year, 2 more were added. So that they don't care. And then this is the Prime Minister that is saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to call election and you're still going to vote for these people," including himself. No, he has disqualified himself by the very things that he himself has said. Why has he not held himself to the very standard that he was talking about when he was in opposition? That is the standard that he needs to hold himself accountable to. And because he's not doing it, shows that he's a hypocrite and he's not to be taken seriously and he's not to be trusted anymore with the governance of the country.
All right. First, I want to say, Sister Maria, a big thanks to you to pass through. As usual, interact with your people, of course. Right. We're happy for that. All right. So remember that.
Yeah, man, much appreciated, my brother and my sister. Much appreciated. And everybody in the chat, you know, the word is love. And, it's always good to have that robust. We don't have to agree on everything, but we don't have to be disagreeable. And, we can respect one another's opinion because we're entitled to it. But at the end of the day, we're here for one cause and one cause only, for good governance, transparency, and accountability, so that we can once and for all put a dent in corruption in Jamaica, because corruption is eating away at the very fabric of the country, and it's the people who suffer.
So true. You hear it from Sister Maria. So that is the end of our program. We want to say a big thanks, but most of all, as it relates to all of our viewers, right, we want to ensure that, of course, you're equipped with informed, factual information, right, so that you can make an informed decision. Remember now, right, based on information out there from the grapevine, that general election will be in December. So we have to prepare and make sure we tell each one to tell another person to go out and vote, of course, People's National Party, bring back democratic socialism as it relates to equal opportunity for one and all. We need to move forward, make progress, nation building. We are talking about checks, balance, and accountability, right? We don't want a government that deals with nepotism, cronyism, and skullduggery. So my wonderful people, I want to say a big thanks to you, right? To always pass through Mystic Sensation, tune in, listening to a Mystic Sensation, listening to a Mario, right? That give you informed decision. Thank you. We all love you and have, a wonderful rest of your time, right? See you again.
Yeah, man.
And
God bless my brother. We shall speak. God bless Anne-Marie. Have a restful night. Yeah, man. Cool.
You are. You're Rural. Big up yourself. All right. So there goes, ladies and gentlemen, right? We, reached to the end of our program. We want to say to you all a big thanks and thank you for the continuation of support. We really appreciate it. Honey?
Okay, safe travel on the gravel. Until next time, bless up and one love.